What's truly impressive? Hi, my name's Dave, and welcome to my daily journey through the Daily Stoic 366 Meditations on Wisdom, Perseverance, and the Art of Living by Ryan Holiday and Stephen Hasselman. Today is May 4th, so may the 4th be with you. What's truly impressive? Quote, how much better is it to be known for doing well by many than for living extravagantly? How much more worthy than spending on sticks and stones is it to spend on people? End quote. MUSONIUS Rufus Lectures 1991, point 91, 26 to 28. Think about the lifestyles of the rich and the famous, and that so-and-so bought a home for so many millions, and that so-and-so travels with their own barber, and that so-and-so owns a pet tiger and an elephant. The exact same gossip and notoriety was popular in Roman times. Certain Romans were known for the thousands of sesterces they spent on their money on their coin bond. Others were notorious for the orgiastic parties and sumptuous feasts. The works of Roman poets such as Juvenal and Mar abound with tidbits about these types. The conspicuously wealthy earn and ultimately get what they want out of the spending, the reputation. But what an empty one. It's really is it really that impressive to spend? Given the funds, wouldn't you be able to do that? Marcus Aurelius was courageously sold off some of the imperial furnishings to pay down war debts. Most recently, and I'm going to mispronounce this, Jose Mujica, a former president of Uruguay, stood out for giving 90% of his presidential salary to charity and driving a 25-year-old car. Can you do stuff like that? Not everyone. So what's more impressive? Exactly, what is more impressive? You know, we tend to give a lot to, people that have a lot of money, like, oh, look at all the Bugattis and all these cars. You see those, especially on like kind of TikTok and Instagram of like, oh, I've made millions of dollars doing FBAs and blah, blah, blahs and these things. And good on you. But what is that all going to accomplish in your life? What's more impressive? One of the things that my kind of dad really had, and my parents too, was that they really believed that they're both very Catholic, but they also really believed in that 10% of whatever your earnings go is a tithe that goes into charity. But it's not just a tithing of your finances, but also of your time and your resources, your time and your energy into what you do. Like my parents are very well off, they're retired, but they still, like my dad during tax season volunteers his time to help people do their taxes, drives for the food bank at least once or twice a week. I remember growing up and we would make sandwiches for St. Martin de Porres, and we'd go do that. There's time in my life where I ended up working at a soup kitchen for about a year and a half. Before that job, I was working at an extremely expensive country club in Mattapoisett, Massachusetts, just off of Cape Cod, where it's extremely high-end kind of people to go working with the poor, right? What's more impressive? Being able to, if you have money and being able to spend it, or taking what you have and being able to help others with it and to live your live your principles and your values through it. There's nothing wrong with having money, right? I wish I could have a bit more of it, to be perfectly honest with you. Why, though? So I can build a solid foundation and a home and security for the family I want to build, right? It's not necessarily so I can, get all the nice cars and all these things, right? We're in the process of moving out of our house and downsizing a bit. And you realize you have all these things, and they're just things. What brings value to your life is usually the actions behind them. Does it really bring you more joy to have 7 cars and you don't drive any of them? Or having one car? and being able to use that until it almost breaks, right? Like you build the bond with the thing. Like, do you really need all that stuff? Does it bring you more joy? I find that for me, right? Like maybe it does for you, but for me, it doesn't bring me as much joy as kind of the actions and the activities and living experiences versus just having things that take up space, right? Like they just take up a lot of space, you know. And you know, maybe that's different for you, but I find it more impressive for me is like someone like I'm gonna use Keanu Reeves as another good example, right? Like this guy who's extremely wealthy, but like he's not someone, at least from what I can kind of see, doesn't really flaunt it, doesn't throw it, like still rides the subway, like, you know, doesn't take advantage of people or make them change because, oh my god, I'm Keanu Reeves, right? Like, you know, you don't need to be, especially to be a man, you don't need to have this hyper masculine kind of like, oh, I've got all the cars, aggressive kind of alpha attitude to really make a difference in someone's life or really to kind of stand out. It's through your kind actions, through the simple actions, holding open the door for someone. Like, you know, I was reading something recently like, oh, you know, that's now considered toxic or woke or something, like if you hold open the door. I'm like, no, it's just courteous, right? Like, the actions mean a lot more than being able to have a big bank account, right? Like, what you do with it, because it's just, at the end of the day, you don't take that money with you, right? Like, at the end of the day, when you're 6 feet under, you don't take it with you. You know, like at the end of the life, would you rather have all alone in a house filled with all the most expensive stuff, or in a decent or moderately home filled with like friends, family, and all the memories at the end of your life? Like, what do you think is going to be more impressive? What do you think is going to fill the hole in the soul more? You know, like, we live in such a consumeristic kind of and a capitalistic society, right? Like, oh, if you just have this cup of coffee, if you just have this book, if you just get this thing, then everything will be, all your problems will be solved. Or if you sign up for my program on this, blah, 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 everything will be solved. And that doesn't work. I don't know. Like, especially kind of when it comes to things. Education and learning how to better yourself and finding ways to help others and learning how to help yourself. You know, this is kind of the things that I teach in my course is finding the values of what you value. You know, like I consider myself a bit of a minimalist. And that doesn't mean that I don't want to have stuff. It means that everything that I own has a value and a purpose and a point. It isn't just there to take up space or to get that temporary rush of like, ooh, I got the cool thing, right? Like, it's like, okay, how does this kind of bring me joy, you know? Like, during the pandemic, I did get back into Lego, which is a very expensive kind of hobby, and I think one of the most maximalist, like, after living out of a suitcase for almost, at that point, 7-8 years, one of the most maximalist things I could do. But every time I purchased a new set, it was like, okay, why am I doing this? What joy is it bringing for me? And it was the ability of creation, be able to build, like, I've got an awesome a city layout, and it brought me back to my childhood joy. It was not just the thing itself, but the actions behind it, the value that it brought to my life, the joy when, you know, the neighborhood kids or family members come over and see it, and it's, you know, and now I have to kind of pack it up. But it's like, as I pack it up, I recognize that, you know, I've been saying kind of thank you to the different sets as I'm trying to find ways to pack them up. So thank you for bringing me joy. Thank you for, you know, like, for bringing me hours of fun and like creativity and bringing back my childlike spirit. You know, that's how I look at it. You know, it doesn't mean that the thing itself is wrong. Like, having things isn't bad. It's recognizing the value that you place on it and why, what does it offer to your life, you know? And like, you know, I think it's very important also, you can have all kinds of money, but if you don't share, if you don't give back in a way to, like, because people helped you probably achieve that. There's a ways of where, like I said, going back to my parents, by being able to give back in whatever little way you can, whatever value set after you've kind of maybe get a little bit more secure and stable or successful, how much do you give back? How much are you willing to help the next person along? Are you giving are you putting your hand out there and helping the next person to rise up the mountain? Or are you just looking for a hand up and trying to get you up further up the mountain? You can do both at the same time. Nothing wrong with that. But I think it's more impressive to be able to help others, to take a little bit out of your time, like to do that. This is why, part of the reason why I make these videos, mostly it's for my own accountability, but I want to get this message out there, right? Like, this is why I want to become and am a coach. I don't want to say becoming, because I need to start using the phrase I am, because I am a coach. And I want to be a psychologist, a psychotherapist, and a counselor, and I want to help men. I want to be able to give back so that they don't have to go through and struggle like I did with ADHD. That's a very important thing to me, is not like make a decent living at it, but it's also, for me, one of my big core values is service, is helping others. And it's always been something that's been really ingrained in me since a very young child. I always love to help others because I love the feeling I get from helping someone succeed, of seeing my clients have those aha moments when they're done with the program, and seeing them light up and transform, and like establishing on their own, really embracing themselves, and being able to handle the world with whatever it throws at them. That's what I really love about doing coaching, of being a helper, of even when I was a chef. Like, I enjoyed like the pleasure I would see on people's faces when they ate my food. For me, there's something really powerful in giving of yourself to someone else, to a cause, to a thing. I recognize, though, you can't give yourself completely. You still have to build that balance. Right, because I've done that to the opposite of the extreme, where I've given everything to everyone else, and then I had nothing left for myself. And you can't fill from an empty cup. So it starts with me, of building the life that I want to build, and then being able to help out. Right, like they say on the airplane, you put on your oxygen mask first before helping the child or the person next to you. Like, if you can't take care of yourself, having your needs covered first before you can go help someone else. Yeah, but that's all I got. I hope you were impressed. I don't know if that was impressive or not, but that's just all I got on today's topic. So thank you so much for watching. Always appreciate it. Don't forget to, if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to check out more Daily Stoic videos over here. Learn more about my coaching program. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I also post this to Facebook, so I'm pointing to these screens and you're like, what is he always pointing at? So you'll find that for my Facebook people, you'll find that for YouTube. But anyways, with that though, I'll see you tomorrow, and you have a great, if not better, day.